Hello. So today I will officially be starting my series of the most well-rounded members of each K-pop group. Now a long disclaimer. Please keep in mind that everything I say in this video is not the final word, and just because I say this member is the most well-rounded does not mean they are. I will try to go as in-depth as I can with my explanations while also trying to keep this video under an hour. This is just my unbiased opinion based on as much evidence as I could gather from each member to see which ones are more well-rounded than the others. Also, please try to understand that I do not have any intentions on bashing any idols named in this video. But before we get into anything, first we must clarify the meaning of being a well-rounded member. Usually I would say, if you can sing and dance you are well-rounded. But in order to be an idol you need to do those two things exceptionally in order to debut. Therefore I will also be analyzing each member's rapping skills to make a fair judgment at the end of this video. If I am missing something important, please comment down below something I may have missed so I can correct myself. This series was inspired by That's the K-So series of the most well-rounded members of each group, and I will leave a link to that playlist in the description. The first video in this series will be about Twice and which members I think are the most well-rounded. Since Twice is a relatively large group, I will try to name the 3 members that I think are the most well-rounded, and I will try to give honorable mentions to those who I think are fairly well-rounded. I will be starting from the eldest member to the youngest. Keep in mind that I am not vocally trained, nor am I trained in dancing or rapping, and this is mostly based on their positions and clips of them performing. Now you may ask, well, if you're not trained in these qualities you aren't really credible, right? Just understand that I will try to be as reasonable and most understanding as possible with the members' abilities, as well as weighing out their positives and negatives to make a final judgment. I ask that you stay respectful in the comments to me and to each other, and if you have different opinions on what's stated here or who you think is the most well-rounded, please feel free to respectfully disagree. This is a very long and detailed video, so get comfy. With that all out of the way, let's get started. First we have Nayeon. Her current positions are lead vocalist, lead dancer, center and face of the group. There is no doubt that she is one of the most skilled idols in the group, but let's look a little further into her abilities. First let's talk about her vocals. Nayeon's vocals are no doubt one of the best in Twice. She has a versatile range for a lead vocalist, and she can hit high notes really well, as shown in some Twice B-sides and even their title tracks such as More and More. Vocally I would rank her as the 3rd best in Twice simply because she is one of the most vocally trained in the group, and she could easily be a main vocal in another group. Now let's look at her dancing. Nayeon is also a really strong dancer in Twice, and before I used to think that she didn't live up to her lead dancer position, but I've started to realize that she makes amazing facial expressions and she also has an amazing stage presence. Whether it's her line or not, I personally think she's a versatile dancer. She could pull off a sexy concept, a cute concept, or an elegant concept, and I think she proves that with her facial expressions on stage. I can't really talk much about her technique as a dancer, as I am not a trained one myself, but it's easy to see she's quite fluid while executing dance moves. However, Twice is filled with amazing dancers, and I think I would place her at 6th at dancing simply because there are other members who easily appear to have more skill in dancing than her. Lastly, let's look at her rapping. There's not many clips of her rapping, but she did rap Chaeyoung's part in Like E during the switched version, and she's pretty stable as a rapper. The only weakness that I think is pretty visible when she raps is that her rapping stays at the same note or range, and it expresses a lack of emotion. If you compare Chaeyoung and how she raps her part compared to how Nayeon raps, you will see what I'm talking about. So I think for me Nayeon is an alright rapper, but it's not her strong suit, so I'd rank her roughly 7th in rapping. Overall Nayeon is a very talented idol, but could she have the title of being one of the most well-rounded in Twice? We will see. Next we have Yoon. Her current position is lead vocalist. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say this, but she does not deserve to just be lead vocalist, but I already had a video about that titled Fixing Twice's Position since JYP won't, so please check that out after watching this video. I'll link it in the description. Anyways, let's take a look at her vocals. It is easy to see that Yoon can hit a wide range of notes. She impressed viewers with her singing abilities on 16, and I don't know why JYP doesn't give her more opportunities to shine as a vocalist. She usually hits all her high notes in the backtracks of their B-sides as ad-libs. For example, the B-side Get Loud in the Feel Special album. She is an amazing vocalist that can sing in many different genres, and I hate that she's not a main vocal, which is why I would rank her the second best vocalist in Twice. Now let's look at her dancing. I've seen many videos ranking Twice as dancers, and since I don't have much ability to point out her flaws, I will go off what these videos say. Many YouTubers say that her technique isn't the best, and I will have to agree with that. She doesn't appear to have great form on stage, but I still think that she is a decent idol dancer. She does have great rhythm according to these YouTubers, but I think she is lacking a little compared to her fellow members, so I'd rank her 9th in dance. Lastly is her rapping. There are almost no clips of her rapping, so I can't really judge her in this category. Because of that, I think I'd have to rank her last here. Overall, I wouldn't say Junghyun is necessarily an all-rounder, but she definitely knows her strengths, and she is a very decent idol overall in terms of her singing and dancing ability. Next we have Hirai Momo. Her current positions are main dancer, sub-vocalist, and sub-rapper. Let's take a look into her vocals, shall we? I think most of the community has come to terms that Momo is more of a dance-skilled idol, and her vocals are very weak compared to the other members in Twice. Momo's voice and tone doesn't really suit Twice's concepts, which is why JYP has been quote-unquote forcing her to have this nasally high-toned voice. I would say her vocals are the weakest in the group just because of this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that her vocals are horrible. It just means that for Twice's concepts they don't fit, and it takes her out of her comfort zone to sing in them. Her pitch and tone shouldn't have to be strained, if that makes sense, but since Twice's songs have higher pitches, she tends to strain her voice simply because the songs aren't in her range. She has most certainly improved in stability, but because of her weaknesses she'd be ranked last in vocals. Now on the brighter side, let's take a look at her dancing. Her dancing is absolutely incredible. She is no doubt the best dancer in Twice. People praise her abilities and techniques, and she is just a consistent and solid performer on stage. She always brings great facial expressions to the stage as well as great form, and she is known to center in Twice's famous dance breaks for that reason. She is first in dancing here, but that was already a given, so let's talk about her rapping. Momo is definitely one of the best rappers in Twice, but I feel like JYP is sometimes very afraid to use her when it comes to their title tracks. In Signal we saw her rapping alongside Mina Da-hyun and Chae-young, but I think that's about it. If you look closer into Twice's B-sides, you will see that Momo is a very stable rapper, and her tone and range suits rapping more than it does singing. Here is an example. You can easily see that Momo has no problems when it comes to rapping, and the nasal tone that she has while singing simply goes away. If it were up to me, I would give her lead rapper in the group because of these reasons. For rapping, I think I'd rank her third in the group. Overall, Momo is a very talented idol, but her vocal abilities, while still being better than mine, are lacking in comparison to her fellow group members. Next is Minato Zaki-sana. Sana's current position is sub-vocalist. I hate how she's literally just a sub-vocalist but gets the same amount of lines as Junghyun, a lead vocalist. She's also a very consistent and talented dancer, so I'm not sure why she's not even in the dance line. Anyways, let's first talk about her vocals. I find Sana's vocals to be very underrated within the fandom, and I see almost no one praise her abilities. Her voice easily suits Twice's concept, but she can also suit more deeper girl crush concepts like shown in 16. This shows that her voice and singing style is quite versatile, and she can pull off any concept and genre really well. My question is, if Twice was going to have higher pitched and higher toned songs, why isn't she higher up as a vocalist? As a vocalist in Twice, I would rank her 5th in the group. Next, let's look at her dancing. There is no doubt that Sana is an incredible dancer, and yes, she may not stand out in the group, but I find her to be a very nice and energetic dancer along with Jihyo. I think almost everyone, if not everyone, would agree that she could be a lead dancer. She makes a couple flaws here and there, but her facial expressions are amazing, so I think I'd rank her third for dancing. Lastly, let's look at her rapping. I think people forgot that Sana rapped. Back in 16 she rapped a lot. In fact, she was supposed to be a rapper in JYP's Japanese group before they broke up. Many people say she has decent breathing control and a decent tone to rap. She may not be the best, but I think it's pretty easy to confirm those two statements. Here's an example. She may not be the best rapper, but I think she could possibly pass as a sub or maybe lead rapper in another group, so I would rank her 6th in rapping. Overall, Sana has great qualities of being an all-rounder, but is she the most well-rounded? Next is Park Ji-hyo. Her current positions are main vocalist and leader. Let's take a look at her vocals. I don't think I have to go in depth here, because even though she's not my favorite vocalist in Twice, she is the best and no one can deny that. Her technique is praised because she can hit a wide range of notes and her stability is incredible. She is obviously first in vocals, so let's look at her dancing. Her dancing is incredible. I am so baffled as to why JYP refuses to give her a dance position. Like most of Twice has amazing skilled dancers, but she is a trained dancer with a lot of energy and has great form. People say she tends to overdance a lot, which I can personally agree with, but that doesn't make her a terrible dancer. It just shows that she can sing and perform on stage with incredible amounts of energy all at once, which are all amazing qualities for an idol. I think in Twice I would rank her 5th in dancing. Lastly, let's look at her rapping. There aren't any real clips with her rapping if I'm not mistaken, besides her doing it for fun, so I can't really rank her rapping, so I'd have to put her at last in this category. If this video was naming idols as all-rounders just by evaluating their vocal and dance abilities, Ji-hyo would definitely be one of the most well-rounded. But since I am taking rapping into account, I cannot consider her an all-rounder. Either way, she is still more talented than I will ever be. Next we have Mina. Her current positions are main dancer and sub-vocalist. First, let's take a look at her vocals. I find Mina's vocals to be very calming, soft and very easy to listen to. Her voice is very soothing. She's also shown us a more huskier, deeper pitched voice in 16, and I think the versatility of her vocals are an advantage that many of the other members don't have. She has the potential to be a lead vocalist, but I guess JYP didn't want a group with one main vocalist and 4 leads. I think because of all of this I would rank her 4th in vocals due to her appealing vocal color and her amazing versatility. Next, let's look at her dancing. Mina is a very talented dancer, and according to these YouTubers she has many good qualities that a good dancer requires, such as balance, patience, gracefulness, and great form. People say that she's stiff since she was a ballet dancer for about 10 years of her life, but I think that over the years her stiffness has started to fade, and I believe she's more fluid of a dancer than she was when she first debuted. Due to her amazing technique and her outstanding qualities that skilled dancers claim she has, I would rank her 2nd in dancing. Lastly, we have her rapping. Mina doesn't rap as much as Chaeyoung and Dahyun, but she certainly raps more than most of the other members. There are several clips of her rapping live with a stable voice, and she doesn't really appear to be shaky or show a lack of emotion. Here's an example from 16.
Love me now, love me good. Don't need nobody else when I put us good. And nobody around, do it like you should. Do it.
Now you might say, well, 16 was filmed 5 years ago. How can you be so sure that her rapping skill is the same? Well, you are right. I don't know if she has gotten worse, but every now and then Mina raps in tiny portions in B-sides here and there, and she wouldn't be given those lines if she didn't have decent or stable technique. Also, if you're about to ask why I didn't use Signal as an example of her rapping, is because the rap isn't really fast and isn't much of a challenge. But regardless, Mina is a pretty good rapper, and even though JYP doesn't use her as a rapper, she has a great tone for it, so I'd rank her 4th in rapping. Overall, Mina has several talents as an idol and is considered an all-rounder, but is she the most well-rounded? Next we have Kim Da-hyun, and her positions are lead rapper and sub-vocalist. First let's take a look at her vocals. Dahyun has very soft vocals just like Mina, and I don't see many flaws in her singing, probably because she's always pushed as the rapper and she never gets any real singing parts in Twice's songs. Personally, I love her vocal color, and if this was all my opinion, I would rank her third in vocals just because her sweet voice is probably my favorite in Twice's. But since it's unbiased and I must be fair, I'd rank her 8th in vocals. Don't get me wrong, she's an amazing vocalist, but she just doesn't have many opportunities to showcase her vocal abilities, as her singing is more rapping or talking singing. Next let's look at her dancing. While Dahyun is a very talented idol dancer, nothing about her dancing stands out from the rest of the group. The only thing that does make an impact are her facial expressions. She is one of the few in Twice who actually express a lot of emotion while performing whatever song they are dancing to. Other than that, she's just a decent dancer and nothing else really puts her higher than the others, so I would rank her 7th in dancing. Lastly, let's look at her rapping. Her rapping is the second best in Twice, and I think most people would agree with that. Her tone and voice is very stable while rapping, and she's improved a lot as a rapper since 16. Her skill of rapping isn't a born talent, but it's been trained and honed over the past 5 years of her being an idol. So with that, obviously she is ranked 2nd in rapping. Overall, Dahyun is average in singing and dancing and above average in rapping, and she definitely knows what she's good at, and although she is an extremely talented idol with a lot of energy and charisma, we don't have enough to prove that she's the most well-rounded. Next up we have Sun Chaeyoung. Her current positions are main rapper and sub-vocalist. First let's take a look at her vocals. Chaeyoung, just like Mina, has amazing yet underrated vocals, and like Mina and Dahyun, she has a very soft and delicate voice. JYP treats her like she's a vocalist instead of a main rapper a lot, and even in Feel Special we saw her potential to be a lead vocal. Obviously I can't rank her based off of that, but Chaeyoung does a lot of talking singing since she's a rapper. Since she is typically the one to rap the faster verses, she has been trained to have a lot of stability while singing, which is a plus for her. She also has a high tone or pitch like shown in the B-side Melting, which really suits about 90% of Twice's songs. For that reason I would rank her 6th in singing. Secondly, let's look at her dancing. Like Dahyun, nothing really stands out about her dancing. While yes, she has good form and rarely makes mistakes while performing, she doesn't have anything that really differentiates herself from the other members in terms of dancing. She is a decent idol dancer, but I would rank her 8th. Lastly, we have rapping. I don't think I need to go much into detail here. She is a very skilled and trained rapper. She is the fastest rapper in Twice, and she is very stable. Her technique is very sharp, and even since 16 she already had the basic qualities to be a main rapper. Obviously she ranks first here because of her skill. So yes, in a way Chaeyoung is technically an all-rounder for excelling in vocals, dance, and rap. But is she the most well-rounded? Lastly we have Chuchuwi. Her current positions are lead dancer, sub-vocalist, maknae and visual. Let's take a look at her vocals. Chuwi has a soft voice which is great in some cases, but she has a lack of versatility when it comes to her tone and pitch. Many trained vocalists say her tone is flat and it can express a lack of emotion at times, which I wholeheartedly agree. For example, her part in Precious Love. She sang well and her voice was soft, which is really pleasing to listen to, but she didn't show much emotion when executing the note, and those little details bring her down a lot. Her vocal abilities have definitely improved since debut, but I think I'd still rank her at 7 for singing. Next, let's look at dancing. Chuwi used to train at a dance studio back in Taiwan, and that helped form her technique into what it is today. She doesn't really underdance or overdance to the point where it is extremely noticeable, but her long limbs make some dance moves incomplete, if that makes sense. Since she is the tallest in Twice and has pretty long limbs, it brings her down as a dancer, but her technique is still above average, so I think as a dancer I would rank her just below Nayeon at 6. Lastly we have her rapping. Chuwi's rapping is actually not that bad. She is really stable when it comes to rapping, and her flat tone seems to come in handy when she does rap. She hasn't rapped a lot in Twice's songs, but she has rapped in covers, for example Loving You by Sis Star. Notice how she doesn't have much trouble rapping and it seems to be easier for her. For rapping I would rank her 5th in Twice. Overall Chewie is a decent idol all around and she can exceed in all aspects, but is she the most well-rounded? Now this is where I will show my rankings of the members in all 3 categories and determine which ones are the most well-rounded in the group. Please remember that this is based off all the statements I have made about each member and their abilities, and just remember that all these idols are more talented than I will ever be and I am not formally trained in singing, dancing or rapping. So here we go. After evaluating all the members and taking their rankings into account, the most well-rounded member of Twice is Mina. Mina has outstanding vocals, has great dance abilities, and can rap very well. She exceeds these 3 categories by a lot and she is a very talented idol all around. The second and third most well-rounded members go to Minato Zaki-sana and Sun Chae-young. Like I said about Mina, these 2 also exceptionally exceed the standards of being an all-rounder by a margin. Before I end this video I just want to name 2 runner-ups that could be classified as well-rounded members. First is Nayeon. She definitely is a decent idol all around and her singing and dancing abilities bring her up really high. If she improved her rapping she could definitely be the most well-rounded. Second is Chewie. She is an exceptional dancer and a stable rapper, but her vocals bring her down by a lot. Overall this video was just made for fun and please just take what I say with a grain of salt. It is not that serious and none of Twice would even be idols or even be in this video if they weren't talented. Please tell me who you think are the most well-rounded members in the comments, and please also tell me if I missed any important information for the video. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you next time.